Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and what a delight to have back with us and an honor, because it's great to get a little bit of his time, and that is our good friend, Dr. Jerry Johnson. He is the President and CEO of the National Religious Broadcasters, and they're enjoying their new location in Washington, D.C., which he probably hopes he was in Southern California right now. Hi, Jerry. How are you, friend? Good to see you.
Yeah, it'd be great to be out in Oregon, too, or Washington.
Good to see you. You're settled in? Everything going well in the new spot?
Just great. We've already had more guests come to NRB headquarters in the last 3 months than we had in the last 10 years out in Manassas. So to be here on Capitol Hill, to represent Christian broadcasting, to defend free speech, I mean, this is really where the action is. And so we've really increased our footprint, and it was a good move.
Well, congratulations. By the way, you're kind of around the corner from the new Museum on the Bible, right?
We are, and you know, folks need to come out and support that next year. I mean, it's incredible. Over 400,000 square feet, state-of-the-art technology, and it's just a great witness here in the city. We're thrilled about it.
Oh, it's wonderful. Well, Jerry, it's a new day, a new administration, and now we have a new chairman of the FCC, Chairman Pai. We've been watching this. I read an article just early this morning that came off some of the internet sites talking about even the internet issue, that he may want to bring that back and take some of the regulations off. I would assume you're a happy camper.
We really are. You know, it's interesting. Commissioner Pai now is going to be the chairman. He spoke to NRB the day that I was elected as president. So we've had an ongoing relationship. You know, he's professional, he's winsome, but, you know, he's for freedom, he's for liberty. And he did voice concern in opposition to the so-called fairness doctrine, and also net neutrality, you know, right, which really brought in a lot of regulation to the internet, a lot of government control, and pretty much treating the internet like a utility. So, you know, just when you look at your old phone bill, you see layer upon layer of taxation and regulation, and we don't want that for the internet. Pai is against that, and you're right, he might revisit that.
So what's the process, Jerry? I mean, can he do this on his own, or is this going to go back for congressional approval?
Well, you know, the committee is 5 members, the commission.
Right.
He'll be the chairman. I'm not sure. He might be able.
Yeah.
You know, the gate is open and the cow's out of the gate, but he might be able to get it back in. But, you know, certainly with Congress or with the president, they could do something. They might be able to reverse it without.
Well, I'm going to do our part at this end because, as you know, our congressman here, Greg Walden, now is chairman of the Commerce Committee, and he's working with Senator Thune in the Senate to go back to this net neutrality and look at this. So it's possible there is a little bit of a coalition working there, but they all want the same thing, and that has this stuff deregulated and bring it back to where it was. I mean, this has got to be good news.
Well, it is. And, you know, folks just need to think about this. You know, what has really worked well in the last 10 years in America? And one thing that has really worked well is the World Wide Web, the internet.
Right.
It has changed business. It's changed communication. Think of how you're able to order things, how you're able to get information, how you're able to do research. You know, the last thing we need is government knocking at the door and saying, you know, I'm here from the government and I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you fix this. And it means they're going to mess it up.
Yeah,
it means they're going to start taxing it and restricting it. And so the government needs to just stay out of the internet business.
All right, Jerry, let's go over to the Spectrum auction. We've been watching this, and thank you for your involvement and your leadership in this area. But what a mess. And I don't know, do you have a read on where it is today and where it's going? And for those who don't know, the government was trying to sell off, I'm just giving you a real simple answer here. The government wanted to sell some of our low-power television stations and translators to the wireless community, and it created an incredible mess at that level. Where is it from your perspective today, Jerry?
Well, the auction has been moving along in a phase process, and it's now towards the final phase. And I'm hopeful. I'll put it that way. I'm hopeful that with Commissioner Pai, you know, he's been a great advocate, let's say, for AM radio and small operators. And I'm hopeful with that tendency and with that instinct, I'm hopeful that he will take great care to protect you and broadcasters like you know, from the big boys, because that's really what it's about. It's about, you know, people like you who've been around for 10, 20 years, operating, building a great ministry, a great business, a great service to the community. You know, some big corporation coming in and buying up that space to just make millions and millions of dollars. We don't need to do that. And Pai's been an advocate for localism. Right. I think this is good. And I think there's something he could do still to, you know, guide the process. So we're going to be advocating, that's for sure.
No question about it. And from what I see is that the auction has not gone well. They may have gotten to somewhat of a break-even point, but they're far past their predictions on this. So hopefully he can bring it to an end quickly and get this thing back to some kind of normalcy. I guess we'll have to wait and see where this goes. Jerry, with the potential change at the FCC, do you think this is an opportunity for Christian broadcasters? What does this do for us now that if we're not going to get regulated? Can you imagine if it was President Clinton and what would have happened? I mean, oh my stars.
Well, I mentioned this before, Perry. I mean, the fact is the FCC already has decency standards, community standards for nakedness, for profanity and vulgarity in the name of, you know, the public airwaves. You know, we're protecting community standards for the public airwaves. They've got this power already. And I can see, because of what happened in Canada, what's happened in the UK and elsewhere in the world, it would have just been another step for the FCC to say, you know, if you're going to talk about Islam, or you're going to talk about sexuality, homosexuality, or the transgender controversy, you know, this is hate speech, or this is a violation of community standards. That is exactly where Obama was going. That's exactly where all the federal agencies were going. And I truly believe that's where Hillary Clinton would have gone. And so I'm just thankful that we've bought some time, we've got some relief, and we should be thankful. We should be happy about this.
Yeah, no question about it. You know, Jerry, this also provides incredible opportunity. I know you sit there at the helm of the NRB, and you probably hear, like we do here, we broadcasters. I have never, ever seen the response to Christian broadcasting like we've seen it in the last couple of years. There's a huge human cry out there. Are you feeling it there?
Well, I am. I think the mainstream media certainly tends left, tends liberal, tends secular, and Christians don't. They know there's nothing there for them. And even, you know, what I would call secular conservative outlets, you know, there might be political information they want, is sympathetic. But I think if the psalmist saying, you know, I live in a dry and thirsty land where there is no water, and what you need for your soul and your spirit is the Word of God, the Holy Spirit, exhortation, preaching, teaching, you know, a Christian view of things. And you don't get that really on the liberal mainstream. You don't get it even in the conservative talk shows, but you get that with Christian radio, television, web streaming. So I do think people are finding the water in Christian media.
No question about it. Let me take a quick break here, Jerry. We're talking to Dr. Jerry Johnson. He's president and CEO of the NRB, the National Religious Broadcasters. Let me take a quick break. We'll come back and finish our conversation with him. He's at the helm of everything, and he's making it work for us, and we're grateful for his leadership. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Focus Today, and an honor to have with us Dr. Jerry Johnson, President and CEO of the National Religious Broadcasters, and he represents all of us throughout the United States and literally around the world. And they have now moved their offices just across the street from the Capitol there, and our advocate there on Capitol Hill on our rights and privileges at the same time having the airways available for the gospel. Jerry, we have watched during this campaign cycle an incredible thing happen, and that was the pushback of the credibility of the media. Boy, that puts a lot of pressure on us to be truthful. What are your thoughts?
Well, it really does. And, you know, people have been talking about fake news and alternative facts. And, you know, the mainstream media has really been biased for years. I think Americans know that. I think that's one of the reasons Fox News came on strong, you know, 20 years ago, whatever it was. But it's very important for Christians to be discerning and for Christian media to speak the truth. You know, Jesus said, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." And I actually think that verse is at the CIA in the lobby, you know. So it's probably not a you know, exact application of what's in the New Testament. There's a principle there that truth is important. God is a God of truth, and Christian media, above and over all other kinds of media, we ought to be committed to the truth. We ought to get the story right, get it straight.
Where do you think the Christian perspective is today in this country? I mean, some articles recently show that the Christian faith is the most persecuted in the world right now, over 90,000 deaths last year. Where do you think it is in America? What do you think how America sees the Christian church today?
Well, there's still, you know, a Christian base, a Christian heritage, a Christian tradition in America, but there is no doubt the trajectory of America and American culture has been more secular. And there's the larger and larger group of people who, you know, called the nuns, who are not going to church or not identifying really with any religion of any kind. So we're not where we were, but, you know, this can be a refining process for the church and for Christians. I mean, I think now people, if you speak a biblical truth, a scriptural truth, a gospel truth, it sounds fresh, it sounds original, it sounds radical. And I think maybe in the past, you know, everybody going to church, everybody calling themselves a Christian, I think it's an opportunity for the church. And then certainly I think just with this election, Perry, you know, we've got to pause. We've got some time. Mr. Trump is going to do some good things. President Trump, I believe, is doing some good things, but we need revival. We need renewal and awakening. The church has to do that, not the government.
No question about that. And it's been said that the media now is the mission field to America. So in some ways, our role in this revival or return, or I think even it's been written about a refiner's fire going into a time of remembrance and then into a time of revival. We may be there. The spirit within the country right now that got Donald Trump elected also has a spirit of return to morality to it, don't you think?
Well, I think so. I think it was a rejection of the left and the status quo. And but, you know, only God can renew America. Only God can bring revival and awakening. And the church needs to seek this and pray for this and work for this. We need to be salt and light. We can't expect D.C. under President Trump to do what the church is supposed to be doing. So we want him to keep the government out of our business. We want him to protect innocent human life. And he's already moving that direction. I'm so grateful that he addressed the March for Life yesterday in his ABC interview. He talked about March for Life, and Vice President Pence is coming to the March for Life tomorrow. He's meeting March for Life leaders tonight in the White House. Wow. And so what a change. You know, this administration standing up for the unborn, standing up for the sanctity of innocent human life. That's a good change.
Well, Jerry, thank you again for your leadership. Let me ask you this. Give us an update. What's happening at the NRB? And I know the big convention's coming up in a few weeks. Give us a highlight on that.
Well, we're gearing up for the big convention. It's open to the public, to all your listeners. They can go to nrb.org and just tool around, find the convention, check out the program. Sean Hannity signed up this week, so that's what's new. Sean Hannity, Kevin Sorbo, Sam Sorbo will be there. They've got a new movie, but we've got Hugh Hewitt coming to speak. We've got Tony Evans. We've got Lee Strobel. So it's a tremendous lineup. We're emphasizing the 5 solas of the Reformation. It's the 500th anniversary of the Reformation. We've got a pastor's track, a TV track, a radio track, an internet, a digital media summit, so a Great Commission summit. So it's really a full-orbed Christian media conference, but it's open to the public.
What's happening around the world, Jerry, Christian broadcasting-wise?
Well, it's just incredible. I was past summer in the fastest growing church in the world. They're 10 years old. They have 150,000 members. I preached to over 100,000 people. But what's amazing, this is in India, what's amazing is how they're using media. They're on television over 300 times a week. Can you imagine that in India? And, they have some churches, put the testimony of those being baptized on a video. You've seen that probably.
Right.
This church doesn't do that. What they do is dramatize the conversion story of an alcoholic, of a drug addict, of someone who is depressed or suicidal. They do a docudrama, and actually the convert plays himself in the docudrama. And this is a church in India. So, there are things happening all over the world that really we can learn from here in the United States, and we're going to feature these kinds of things at the convention. It's just fascinating what's happening.
That's wonderful. Good to see you, smiling French friend. I know your schedule is full. Thanks for your time. We'll see you in a couple weeks, and we're looking for great days ahead. God bless you, pal.
We love the Dove here at NRB. God bless you.
Thank you. Dr. Jerry Johnson, President and CEO of the NRB. We'll be right back.